webinar is intended to be a resource guide for the 2024 Agriculture Innovation Grant Program. My name is Mike Roth, and I'm the Director of Innovation with the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture. This webinar will cover two main topics, the first being grant resources and frequently asked questions, as well as a step-by-step walkthrough of the application process. As you can see here, there are 4 categories of eligible applicants. Please note the operations and applicants that would not be eligible listed at the bottom of the page. There are 3 grant opportunities under this grant solicitation. The first is a planning grant, the second is an on-site grant, and third is a regional impact grant. Details on each are listed here. It is important to review eligible items under this grant solicitation. It must also be noted that although these items may be eligible, they need to be used or identified in an innovative way for your project. Please note that any project over $25,000 will be subject to prevailing wage. To learn more about prevailing wage, please visit the Labor and Industry website listed below. Please note the non-eligible items under this grant solicitation. And please feel free to contact myself if you have any questions regarding a particular item that you plan on purchasing or seeking reimbursement for under your grant application. Here are some frequently asked questions. Please note that this entire presentation will be posted as a PDF on the landing page for the PA 2024 Agriculture Innovation Grant Program. This frequently asked questions section will be updated and re-uploaded to the website as we receive new and frequent questions. Here are some of those questions that we have received so far. First, what counts as matching funds? For this solicitation, we can only accept a cash match for these funds. This cannot be sourced from other state funds. However, they can be sourced from any other source, such as private funds, philanthropic funds, or federal grants. Question 2, what costs can be covered? For this grant, only equipment and contracting or consulting costs can be covered. No administrative salary, stipend, or marketing costs can be covered or counted as match for this solicitation. The third question, is a processor or manufacturer eligible to apply? The short answer is yes. The key, though, is that they're receiving a raw material from an agricultural entity. So in this case, potatoes for a chip manufacturer or logs for a lumber facility. We will now move into a step-by-step process of applying for this grant solicitation. The most important step and your first step is to get a Keystone login. These are the credentials you will use to apply for the grants itself, and it can also be used for any future grants that you may be seeking across the Commonwealth system. To get a Keystone login, please go to the website URL listed here and make sure to record that information for use on the application website. To actually apply to the grant program, you will use your Keystone login to apply to the single application for assistance. The link to that webpage is listed here. It is also available on our landing page for the Agriculture Innovation Grant Program on the PA Department of Agriculture website. Again, you will use the same credentials that you're provided through the Keystone login for this site as well. The first step, once you're in the single application for assistance, is to create a project name and determine if you need help selecting your grant program. Once you hit Create New Application, it will provide you a list of different departments and potential grant programs. Please select Agriculture and find the Application button for the Agriculture Innovation Grant Program. Once you've hit Apply to that particular grant, you'll begin entering information to the system. This is the first page and focuses on background information on your business and other background information relevant to the project. A few areas to take a note of are the NAICS code, FEIN number, and the SAP vendor number. The NAICS code lets us know what type of business you're in. It is fairly simple to look up what type of business code you are. In this case, agriculture is listed as number 11, but you can use the URL listed to identify your number. The EIN number is your federal tax identification number, and if you are a business, this should already be something you have, but if not, you can look up an FEIN number at the URL provided, as well as register for one if you do not have one already. Lastly is the SAP vendor number. This is for the Pennsylvania Supplier Portal and is not necessary to complete the application. However, it may make the process go faster if you are selected through contracting. This will be something that we need from you before final contracting, but is not necessary to submit the grant. Now onto the projects themselves. This next page is just a basic beginning of the description of your project. We do ask that when you name your project name, it should include your organization's name or business's name, as well as a very short description of what the project might be focused on. This is to help us avoid confusion with simply named projects such as Innovation Project, and instead we prefer to have projects like business name as well as the project type. There are some additional questions here for you to review as well. We do ask that you identify the site of the project. This should not be an administrative business address, but instead be the physical site of where the project will take place. If there are multiple projects, you will have the ability to add other project sites. Please note that the House and Senate sections of this page will auto-populate once you select your county and municipality. Now on to the narrative. The narrative has an 8,000 character limit. So we do ask that this be a general overview of your project. It should cover the who, what, where, and why of the project. You will go into more detail on your project in the addenda section of the application. The next section is the program budget. This is the first instance in the application where you'll provide some budget information. Additional budget information will be covered in the addenda section as well. This initial budget section aims to get a general overview of how you will be spending your funds, as well as the matching funds, and how you came to determine that cost. You will use the spreadsheet to identify equipment and contractual costs in total, as well as use the basis of cost to identify the source of those numbers. The next part, you will be provided a downloadable Word document that you will fill out off of the application. This can benefit you in the future should you need to make benefit budget adjustments or projects adjustments after being selected. Once you have the Word document downloaded, you can fill out and answer the following questions. These are the third and fourth questions for the addenda. And please note that number 4 only needs to be filled out by those applying for Regional Impact Project. If you are not applying for a regional impact project, please feel free to skip this section. For number 4 specifically. Lastly, on the addenda, you will be required to submit a slightly more detailed budget. You can see the example here. And again, it should reflect a 50% match if you were doing an on-site project or regional impact project, and a 30% match if you were doing a planning project. Once you've completed the Word document, you can re-upload that document using the upload feature in the addenda section. Once you have done that, there are some additional questions as well as upload opportunities that are provided. The first question is to identify which grant you are applying for, whether it's the planning, the on-farm/on-site, or the regional impact grant opportunity. You can then use the next section to upload letters of support. Please note that letters of support are required for those doing regional impact projects. The next section will allow you to attach any other information you feel is relevant to this project, whether it's product descriptions, design plans, letters of intent, appraisals, bids, whatever it might be that you feel would help provide us more information on what you are trying to do with your project. The 2 additional questions are to help identify compliance with this grant program, as well as the needs of the Commonwealth in granting. The first will require you to download a worker protection form for you to sign and re-upload. The last question will help you identify which eligible applicant you are identifying as. The last major section is the signing authority. Here you will put in the title, name, and email of the person who will have the authority from your business or entity to sign the contract that is made with Commonwealth should you be selected. Once you've completed this section, you will move on to the application certification section, which will review any items that you may have missed before hitting the submit button. Once you have everything you need and has been identified in the grant as necessary for completion, you will then be able to click the submit button. You will receive a notification saying that you have submitted your application. A quick overview here of the tentative timeline. Please understand that these timelines may be subject to change, except for the November 15th closing date of the grant opportunity. Walking through this, again, the grant opportunity will close on November 15th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. From November 16th to January 2025, we will review these applications internally and score them. In early January 2025, we hope to have a public announcement of those who were identified and selected as applicants and awardees for this grant solicitation. This is a 2-year grant opportunity, so all funds as well as closing documentation will need to be submitted before January 2027. It is important to note that no spending or actions can be done before you receive a fully executed contract from the Commonwealth. We do anticipate this would take place in January 2025, meaning you would have an ending date in January 2027. I hope this webinar has been helpful for you to understand the eligibility and opportunities with this grant solicitation, as well as the step-by-step guide for the application process. Please do not hesitate to reach out should you have any additional questions. And again, please maintain constant checking of the PA Department of Agriculture website should there be any changes or modifications or notifications regarding this grant program. Thank you.